Well, welcome everybody to the official rebirth of Ring of Honor in 2022 with Cody Rhodes at the helm as we're here at ROH Rebirth in beautiful Philadelphia, Pennsylvania in front of a little over 2,700 people at the Tom Goal Arena. And here's how we're basically going over is we're going to go over the show. We'll check in on some signings or not signings that I made. And then of course we'll have a little look around the wrestling world just to see if anything interesting has happened in the booking of the AI since, without Cody in WWE or AEW. But regardless, before we all do all that, we gotta go through the actual show, which starts off with a hype package to open the show, focusing on, of course, Cody Rhodes, Jay Briscoe and Mark Briscoe defending their tag titles, and the returns of Davey Richards and Eddie Wertz. This gets a 56, perfectly solid opening video, and just starts things off pretty easily here. And then is the first of the segments to basically balance out the roster as far as faces and heels the way people should be. So Homicide comes out to join the announcers as he is the first match of the evening is Homicide's Proving Grounds, which the basic gimmick for this, in case you didn't see the post I made on the community page, is basically of the lower card workers. The idea is there's going to be a fatal 4-way elimination match on every show. The winner gets 5 points. The last person eliminated gets 3 points. And the second person eliminated gets 1 point. And the loser gets 0 points and is not allowed in a Proving Grounds match for 60 days. And the way you win is to get out of the Proving Grounds is either you win a title or you defeat Homicide after getting 15 points, I believe. So this is basically Homicide's new gig on the roster, is acting as a gatekeeper and sort of like as a quasi-trainer to help with the undercard guys to see who's the most successful. So Homicide comes out with his ROH Legend gimmick. It gets a very good, and he also turns babyface. And we're also changing Caprice's gimmick because it was awful. So there we go. So Homicide's new gimmick gets a very good. When losses have a greater popularity changes, and nothing too great, but solid stuff. As this gets a 41, as Homicide joins the announcers table, which probably hurt their rating a little bit, but it puts over the idea of Homicide as sort of like the overboss, the gatekeeper for this new generation of Ring of Honor talent. And they move forward with the actual match, which gets a 32, which honestly is not as bad as I thought it would be. So overall, we have Dak Draper getting the win here. The actual elimination order is not what you see here. The actual elimination order is basically Aaron Solo going out first, so he gets 0 points. Ninja Mac going out next at 1, but so that's about like 2 or 3 minutes in. Ninja Mac gets knocked out next a couple minutes later, and then for the last 5 or 6 minutes, it's Blake Christian and Dak Draper going after each other, with Dak Draper finally getting the win over Blake Christian and getting the 5 points and the big win here, as this gets a 32 overall after a little over 12 minutes, or a little under 13 minutes. Blake Christian gets a 33, Ninja Mac gets a 28, Aaron Solo gets a 30, and Dak Draper gets a 29. Ninja Mac was off his game. Solid stuff, if we look over the dirt sheet. So I need to actually change this as far as the interesting. So let's handle some changes. So Blake Christian games, it's a poor, which is unfortunate, but stuff happens. And the post-match, Dak Draper celebrates as he enters put over. This is a big win for him in this new era of Ring of Honor, as he's proved himself in the Proving Grounds and on his first 5 points. That gets a 21 because it's somebody celebrating for a total win. It's nothing too fancy. Then we move forward with our next match on the card, which is our 6-person 6-way match here, as we have Angel Williams, of course, former Angelina Love, Holidead, AQA, Kylie Rae, Maxie Impaler, and Trish Adora, all in the ring for a 6-way match. And this is a perfectly solid, 6-way match. Like, nothing too fancy going on here. Just the women all basically, what's we're looking for here, trying to get themselves over. Holiday gets to, play her, face-painted girl gimmick. Kylie Rae gets to be a little bit cocky. Max Impaler throws the women around. Trish Adora gets to do a little bit of her offense. But in the end, Holidead, we get, the usual 6-way spot where everybody, maybe does a dive or at least some sort of move to the outside because it's a 6-way match. But in the end, getting the win here is Holidead with a big win over AQA, getting the pinfall victory in a little over under 11 minutes. This gets a 37, which isn't bad at all. We have Angel Woman getting a 37, Holidead getting a 34, AQA getting a 21, Kylie Rae getting a 44, Impaler getting a 27, and Trish Adora getting a 27. So, I mean, this is one reason why I didn't, release all the women, as some people sort of noted in my initial post about this, is basically, how do I put this nicely? A lot of the guys aren't that over either, so, if there's going to be a weeding out process to see who people survive, who gets brought in, who gets quietly let go. And to recap game changes, so face painted girls are gimmick, adequate, penalized for taking part comedy bouts, and not suitably used by heel, so nothing fancy there. And Kylie Rae's cocky game also gets an adequate, extremely marketable gimmick, so that's good. And then if we look at the dirt sheet, nothing too fancy outside of the spinal impact moves and some poor gimmick for Trish Adora and poor psychology for Impaler. Nothing else too terrible here. I'm probably going to turn that off. I didn't realize that was part of the that was part of the current product. So, but it's the end of the world. Angel Woman's Williams gimmick is looking very stale, so I'll look into possibly changing that, but not the end of the world either way. And post match, Holidead celebrates to a 24. Now we're beginning to slowly move up the card to people who are more impactful here, as we have our big 6-man tag match. As we have about that decent wrestling, but non-existent crowd heat. Samuray, Mascara, Dorada, and Bandido get the big win over Shane Taylor, Leo Rush, and Chris Bay in 30 minutes. So basically, this is just everybody hitting their spots back. Shane Taylor gets to look like a little bit of a power guy, being a little bit bigger than the other folks, but not by much. Leo Rush and Chris Bay hit their high flying spots. There's big dives. Twisting 450s, Bandido gets the Bandido stuff, Samurai Del Sol gets to hit his big moves. Mascara Dorada gets to sort of be the veteran presence here as the veteran luchador, and it's a very solid match, especially for these guys. But overall, in a little over 13 minutes, Bandido gets a big win over Shane Taylor with the side moonsault, with a big win here on Rebirth, as Bandido is a former ROH World Champion, or at least interim, I guess, and gets the big win here. But overall, Bandido gets a 45, Mascara Dorada gets a 54, Samurai Del Sol gets a 54, Chris Bay gets a 44, Leo Rush gets a 51, and Shane Taylor only gets a 19. And then if we look at handling some changes, so we're changing Bandido's gimmick is, which is where it gets an awful, which is, that's unfortunate. But if we look at the other, the other people, basically making their debut, Chris Bay's dashing gimmick gets an adequate. Leo Rush's cocky gimmick gets a great. Mascara Dorada's Mass Marvel gimmick gets an adequate. Samurai Del Sol gets a, most agile warrior in the ring. Gets an initial rating of very good. And Shane Taylor gets a very good gimmick for his veteran brawler gimmick. So nothing too fancy here. Solid match, puts over the, debut luchadors plus Bandido. But still, Leo Rush and Chris Bay get to look like stars. And Shane Taylor's there basically to sort of take the fall. But pretty solid match here. And then, post-match, Leo Rush and Chris Bay are not taking the loss. So as the luchadors are celebrating on the outside, they hit a big dive on the outside to a mixed pop from the crowd and, get the cockily celebrate. As the announcers put over, it looks like, the tensions between these two groups of men aren't quite over quite yet. This only gets a 29. But, nothing too terrible. Again, slowly building folks up, getting everything over here at Rebirth. And then, I think, next up is the beginning of our best of 3 fall series of matches, which is basically going to be 3 matches. So if we go forward here. So the idea is here, it is going to be first a I Quit match for the Pure title, under Pure rules, which I should put as an I Quit match. Then it's going to be a TV title match with the usual TV title length of 10 minutes. And then a no countout, no DQ match for the new ROH North American title, all between these two men, the current Pure Champion Josh Woods and the current TV Television Champion Rhett Titus. So in the final defense of the Pure Championship, it goes a little over 15 minutes. And Rhett Titus gets to look good here, but overall, Josh Woods gets the big win, defending the Pure title for the last time, his fourth defense, getting the big win here in a little over 15 minutes by locking Rhett Titus in a submission and making Titus tap out. You could, the announcers put over, Titus could have fought a little longer, but he decided to take the loss here to get himself ready for the final two matches, including defending his television title for the final time and possibly becoming the first North American title holder. So overall, Woods gets a 37, Rhett Titus gets a 36, 38, solid match. Let me see here. I put this as a technical masterclass, so, nothing too terrible here. And then, in the final TV title defense here, at least for the moment, basically, Rhett Titus plays defense for 10 minutes. Josh Woods tries to get the pinfall or submission win over him, but, Titus plays the, see every Steve Regal TV title defense. Titus gets to, basically, slide outside, avoid, getting much contact, and gain some cheap shots in. But in the end, goes to 10-minute draw, and Rhett Titus is the final television champion in Ring of Honor, at least for the moment, as this gets a 36, Titus gets a 33, Josh Woods gets a 36, and then both men compete in one match for the final, to determine the first North American Championship, and that match would get a 35. Josh Woods gets the win in a little under over 12 minutes by pinfall and wins the North American title. This time, Titus is more aggressive since, of course, he's now going after the title. But Woods is just a little bit better and gets a pinfall victory here on Rebirth, becoming the first ROH North American Champion. As this gets a 35, unfortunately, Woods was off his game. Might be running out of a bit of energy. But, overall, Josh Woods is the last Pure Champion and the first North American Champion here on Rebirth. And Josh Woods celebrates with both titles as this gets a 33. Now we're really moving into the final four big matches of the show. We have the women's title defense, the tag team title defense, the world title defense, and of course the main event of Cody Rhodes taking on Eddie Edwards and his return to Ring of Honor. So this gets a 33, solid stuff. So then, in a but much better match than I'm expecting, considering Nightengale's sort of lack of overness, WIllow Nightengale does her best, but, she's really an underdog here, and really an underdog more than even in real life, because, she's had a solid, 4 or 5 months of good booking here in real life, but she's really more an unknown at this point in June. But despite that, Deonna Purrazzo, has to fight hard, but eventually Virtuosa, is able to lock in Nightengale in a submission in the middle of the ring, and with nowhere to go, WIllow has to submit in a little over 13 minutes, and Deonna makes defense number 1 of her ROH Women's title. This gets a 49. They have great chemistry. Deonna gets a 53. WIllow gets a 32. Solid match. Let's see, was there anything special on the other? Nope. Okay, just spinal impact stuff, but good stuff. And post-match, Deonna celebrates with the Women's World title, as the announcers put over as one of the best women's wrestlers in the world anywhere. Okay, that's time. Up next for our tag title match. As first, we have Mark and Jay Briscoe coming out to the ring to a 39. We turn Mark face just to match him up with his brother Jay. I don't know why they were in different alignments. Who knows? Gets a 39. And then out come the challengers, Mike Bennett, Maria Kanellis, and Matt Taven. The original Kingdom making their return. Well, not really their return, but making their sort of debut here, as this gets a 36. So first, let's turn, Bennett heel. And then if we go over gimmick changes, Maria Kanellis, Queen of the Kingdom, got a rating of very good. Matt Taven's Veteran of the Kingdom got an adequate. And Michael Bennett's gimmick of Kingdom member got a very good with a small boost of charisma. So pretty good stuff. This gets a 36, and now it's time for, as was put over in the lead up, whoever wins this match, the loser of this match cannot go after the tag titles until the winners no longer have the belts. And then, in that tag title match, it's a very good match between two men, two teams who just don't like each other at all. But finally, after, months upon months of, on and off feuding, the Briscoe brothers get the big win over OGK in a little under 20 minutes when Jay Briscoe nails Matt Taven with the spike trade driller with help from his brother, and they make defense number 2 of their 12th reign as ROH World Tag Team Champions, as overall this gets a 57, Mark gets a 52, Jay gets a 57, Mike Oldman gets a 47. Matt Taven gets a 44. Solid win for the Briscoe brothers, as they're now done with the Original Kingdom, and we'll have to see what the Original Kingdom does, along with Maria, and now will be the next contenders for the Briscoe brothers. Well, as they're, celebrating to the crowd, holding up their tag titles, some very familiar music to ROH fans hits, and out comes, making their return to Ring of Honor, pointing at the Briscoe brothers, the Motor City Machine Guns. Alex Shelley and Chris Ben are back in Ring of Honor, facing now with the Briscoe brothers. So Alex Shelley's Motor City Machine Gun got a rating of adequate, and Chris Gamen's Motor City Machine Gun got an initial rating of great. So really good stuff here as, Motor City Machine Guns make their return to Ring of Honor to face off against another legendary ROH team, the Briscoe brothers. And then it's time for our semi-main event, as it's going to be Jonathan Gresham defending the ROH World title against returning to Ring of Honor, Davey Richards. As you know, Jonathan Gresham is, of course, the current world champion, but Davey, Richards is probably more well known by at least some of the audience. And let's see what happens in that match. Oof. That's unfortunate. That's unfortunate. Well, okay. So what happened here? Okay, Davey got a wrestling machine gimmick of great. Unfortunately, Richards was off his game, and Jonathan Gresham and Davey Richards don't seem to click, and made for an awkward bout. So what I imagine with this match is basically these two guys go too deep into sort of like the technical wrestling, and it sort of turns off the crowd. Eventually, Jonathan Gresham does get the win over after 17 minutes submission with the Octopus Hold, and makes defense number 1 of his ROH World title. But unfortunately, it only gets a 42. Gresham gets a 36. Richards gets a 42. So yeah, we'll change. Okay, so his Honorable Champion got a gimmick of great. And Richards' Wrestling Machine gimmick got a rating of great. Was there anything else going on that hurt it? Work chemistry, inconsistency, but yeah, that's about it. So 42, disappointing a little bit, but like not the worst thing, as still, it could have been a lot worse. But Richards rolls out of the ring. Josh and Gresham is celebrating when Dalton Castle's music hits. And he comes out and basically challenges, challenges Gresham to face him, as he should be the next man in line for an ROH World title shot, as a former champion himself, as he wants that belt back around his waist. No boys at the moment, because we're kind of trying to make Dalton a slightly more serious character, and also I forgot to sign them. But yeah, solid stuff as it's a promo. These guys aren't the best promo. Well, Dalton's solid, but Jonathan Gresham is Jonathan Gresham, as it only gets a 34, but still sets up, Gresham's next challenger. And then out comes Cody Rhodes along with Brandi to a 39. First, we're changing Cody's gimmick to a tradition of booking as a very good, extremely marketable gimmick, because his American Nightmare gimmick was awful. And then we're also turning Brandi babyface. And her Cody's wife gimmick, which is, come on, that's her gimmick, gets a very good, solid stuff. And yeah, she's basically just going to be Cody's valet. And then we're on to the match, the main event. Cody Rhodes versus Eddie Edwards. And that match gets a 56. Cody Rhodes and Brandi Rhodes are an awkward pairing. Okay, that's just not fair. It kind of actually makes sense if you guys remember his AEW run with Brandi, but okay, that's just funny. And this match was a little too short. Okay, so I should have went 20 minutes with it. Okay, not the end of the world. Solid stuff. Eddie got his wrestling machine gimmick as well, just running a very good. And this is a solid match, but great heat, good wrestling, back and forth match. And he hit him with the crossroads to finish. Probably multiple crossroads. As in under 20 minutes, Cody gets the huge victory on his first edition of Rebirth, getting a 56. Cody Rhodes gets a 58. Eddie gets a 53. So probably if it would have been a little bit longer, and without Brandi at ringside, would have got maybe like a 60. And yeah, that's the end of basically Brandi probably as an on-screen character, I'm guessing. Regardless, Cody gets the big win here. Eddie, no post-match attack, Eddie and Cody face off. There's a quick handshake. Eddie is celebrating Cody's celebrating to the cheers of the crowd, welcoming ROH to a Rebirth when out of nowhere, slipping through the ring. nailing Cody Rhodes from behind with a chair is Matt Cardona. Matt Cardona, the so-called King of the Indies, comes behind and drills Cody Rhodes, and also in comes, of course, his wife, Chelsea Green, and she goes after Brandi, sort of knocking her down as well. And Cardona and Chelsea Green stand tall as Cardona takes the mic and basically says, Cody, 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 you stepped out of your bubble and you forgot this isn't your world. That's never been your world. This is the world of men like me, the King of the Indies, Matt Cardona, the most hardcore man in independent wrestling, the one and only, who is here in Ring of Honor to bring it down to its knees, along with my babe, Chelsea Green. To Cody, you have to realize you were never elite and never going back to the big show in Stanford. This is where you belong and where I'm going to expose you. And there's nothing you can do about it. So Matt Cardona makes his debut. His King of the Indies gimmick gets a very good. Chelsea Green Cardona's Bay gets a very good. Overall, this gets a 55. And yeah, so small boost psychology, small boost of charisma. And Cardona gets a very good, large boost of charisma. And yeah, that's sort of like our big angle for the show is debut of Matt Cardona. And overall, the show gets us a 48. Okay, I mean, yeah, production, we'll have to look at that, but yeah, lots popular in one region because honestly, we're a little bit probably too popular in like the tri-state region, but still, very solid show as we gain popularity in the other shows. So, honestly, who did better than I thought they would? Honestly, Angel Williams, good performance. Eddie Edwards, good performance. And Matt Cardona, great performance. So yeah, bit of an that's about what I was expecting for a rating is around a 50 or a little bit below. Nothing too terrible or too fancy. Too great because again we're rebuilding stuff here, but a very solid show, and hopefully one we can build on as this loads up. So obviously, there's some members of the roster that was not on the show, and it's sort of going to be sort of a cycling thing. Especially because the schedule as far as in game is I'm going to try for the old ROH event schedule before they went just pay-per-views and then TV tapings to about every 3 weeks or so depending on who's available. Basically the old days when it was every 3 weeks or every 3 or 4 weeks or even more often. A big show with big matches, setting things up as we can, but still some storyline and such as you saw. And wow, I forgot what it's like to process when you've got 18 zillion people in a... Feel free, if you're stuck here at the screen, to probably move forward about 15 seconds, because this is going to take a while. And also, it's the end of the month, so yeah, that's also interesting, so... Wow. Okay, this is just taking a lot longer than I thought. I expected a while, but I forgot how long this was going to take with 18 zillion people and 18 zillion companies. Again, it's a HUMOD, so you're not going to see things you expect. Okay, rest of the year don't matter because yeah, ROH Rebirth. Interesting, the Brian Cage is gone. Okay, so we got 11,000 people, which honestly sounds about right. So a little bit of some spoilers. Basically, what happened here is I did go after some other people that got signed by WE or other companies. So we had Zachary once, who I went after, but he went back to the WWE. Come on, Zachary, you can show up. Or, yeah. Because he was decently over, decently talented. Olivia Valens, who you probably know better as Noe Jose, was going to bring in, basically he's a little bit over and could be a fun character on the undercard, midcard in sort of opposition to the ROH style. And then we also went over, Michael Hutter, aka EC3, but he went back to the WWE, and Rob Van Dam also went back to the WWE because that was going to be the big match. It's Cody versus RVD as the main event. But Eddie's not bad either. So then, sort of look over things. Pop-wise, let me look. Well, this is going to be some spoilers, but hopefully you guys don't see the people too badly. So, if we look at the people who got the wins today, so Bandido's really not over. Honestly, they kind of screwed over his popular. I usually agree, going on sort of the basis of who's over, people's overness in game, but this is a little low. But still, he gains a couple pops. He gets basically up to 10s, and a lot of places are up to 5 and 6s, so he's already getting a lot more over. Let's see here. Cody's Cody. He's on a 60. He's probably not going to gain much overness because there's not big stars for him, so he'll have to depend on good angles. Dak Draper. I forgot how long it's going to take for everything to load up here because it's so deep. But so he gets a decent little boost, just from being on the show. Let's see here, Davey Richards. Did he lose much popularity from doing the job? Okay, so he lost some from losing to Gresham. Deonna Purrazzo. Let's see here. How did she get? Again, she's somebody again who's I think is slightly less over than she should. She did have the NXT run, but she's already up to a 10 or 12 server. So again, Eddie Edwards looks like he either did not lose any popularity or actually gained a little bit from being in the match with Cody. Let me see here. Okay, yeah, he actually gained a point from being in a good match with Cody. Let's see here. Jonathan Gresham. Again, because I'm on that side, he's actually not that well known, but this I think, yeah. But again, big boost, and he's immediately in there. Josh Woods gets a bit of a boost as well. So yeah, again, some people got some decent overness just from being on TV. Let's see here. Anything else to really check here? Let's see. Did Willow gain a bunch from getting the win here? Let's check that out. Or not the win, but getting a really good match. Survey says, okay, yes, she actually gained a decent amount of popularity. So, by the way, creative-wise, it's just Cody. I think I already showed you guys. Next big thing is Leo Rush. Who's hot is Cardona, Mark Briscoe, Jay Briscoe, Cody. Who's not is just Eddie Edwards. Size-wise, if we're tracking the progress, we lost a point in the tri-state, but actually either stayed even or stayed even basically everywhere else. Let's see here. Finance-wise, for the month, we actually gained 40,000, which is solid. And I think that's it. Let's see here. Anything? Oh. So what I'm going to do just here on screen is just basically book the next match, which is going to be Best in the World, which I'll probably change the date of. So we're going to start out with a couple big matches already signed, which is Briscoes versus Machine Guns for the tag titles. And also officially announced is Dalton Castle versus Jonathan Gresham for the ROH World Championship. Of course, other matches will be added, but, I'll go over that either in a posting or as part of like sort of the next thing. But solid stuff here. But before we move forward, so first let's just check in on AEW without Cody. So Gabe Sapolsky is the booker, which is interesting. And as far as the actual big show, which I think was Fyter Fest, let me see, is there anything else going on here? Sorry, he says show history. Right, okay, so just Fyter Fest, which happened a couple weeks back. For only 3,000 people, which is one thing that's goofy with the popularity being what it is. But, you know, could be a lot worse. Anyway, so at Fyter Fest, we had a whole bunch of pre-show matches that won't matter. We had Tay Conti defeated Penelope Ford, AQA, and Chili Hart in a 34. We had Jamie Hayter defeat Yuka Suzuki in a 35. And Jade Cargill defeat Red Velvet to retain the TBS title in a 28. So, first you can see is a lot more women than we on an actual AEW pay-per-view. We had Britt Baker and Serena Deeb defeating Emi Sakura and Riho in a 47. Darby Allin and the Varsity Blondes defeated Lance Archer and the Acclaimed in a 50. Tony Storm defeated Paige Van Zandt in a 47. Fish and O'Reilly, who are the tag champions, by the way, defeated the Dark Order for the tag titles in a 54. Scorpio Sky defeated Christian Cage and Miro to retain the TNT title in a 54. Matt Sydal defeated Chris Jericho. Yes, that happened. To retain the FTW title. Yes, the most unrealistic thing is Chris Jericho actually doing a job. In a 56, and the main event was CM Punk and Jon Moxley teaming up to defeat Samoa Joe and Maxwell Jacob Freewood. Yeah, so as is sort of tradition, like a lot of stables were just like Blackpool Combat Club, Dark Order, a whole bunch of stuff are just not a thing anymore. But hey, lots of other interesting stuff is still around, so there you go. As far as, let me just look over titles. So AEW Championship. No defenses of that yet, which is interesting. Tag titles, of course, Fish and O'Reilly won the titles off of Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus at basically the first Dynamite. And then they also beat the Lucha Brothers at a Dynamite. TOS title is still Jade Cargill. She's had 2 defenses. TNT champion is still Scorpio Sky. And he defeated Christian Cage and Miro and Dustin Rhodes. Women's champion is Thunder Rosa, as she's been defending on Dynamite. Again, most unrealistic thing, she defeated Julie Hart and Bunny, Rebel and Emi Sakura, and Jamie Hayter. So, interesting stuff. And if we look at their top 100s, their best match so far is at 77, and also we had CM Punk defeat Chris Jericho and Christian Cage at a Dynamite, and Danielson and MGF teaming up to defeat Matt Hardy and Adam Page in a 66. So, that's interesting. No signings, and then Brian Cage left, but that's about it. So then, if we go over to the Fed, they just had Hell in a Cell. So we had Roman Reigns defeating Braun in a 79, retaining the Universal title. Ricochet defeated Drew McIntyre, retaining the IC title in a 76. Rob Van Dam and Sami Zayn defeated Rey Mysterio Jr. and Nakamura in a 68. Becky Lynch defeated Natalya in a 67. The Usos defeated Cesaro and Finn Balor to retain the Raw Tag Team title in a 60. Sasha defeated Sonya Deville in a 65. Ryback and the Viking Raiders defeated Brian Cage and the Alpha Academy. Okay. I guess Brian Cage got signed. And Dave Chris defeated Akira Tozawa and Gunnar Harlan for the 24/7 title. Sure. Let's see here. Yeah. Oh, and basically, I set it up officially that Steph's the owner and Triple H the booker. And then NXT, they had their In Your House show, which was main event by Santo Escobar defeated Cameron Grimes with the North American title in a 51. Roger Troy defeated Carmelo Hayes in a cage match in a 50. Kushida defeated Robert Stone and Josh Briggs in a 51. Io Shirai defeated Valentino Perez and Indy Hartwell in a 45. The Wizard Hartwoods defeated Odyssey Jones and Akimi Jiro in a 43. Grayson Walker and Skull and Bones defeated Solo Sikoa and Simply the Best in a 38. Joe Gacy defeated Guru Rajaj in a 31. And I'm just interested, like, what did Braun Breaker do? Had they already jobbed him? I would guess, considering how this game does booking, yes. Survey says... Oh, no, okay. He's just... Well, he lost a tag match, but he's the NXT champion still, but he's not... He's not been in a singles match. Interesting. Well, okay. Interesting stuff. So yeah. I'm going to probably do only one show per video. So this is probably going to be the links of the videos. I might go over stuff a little bit longer, or go over the world a little bit, or any changes. But, you know, I mean, this is basically where we're at. You know, so if you enjoy this, go ahead and give it a like. Comment below on your, likes, dislikes, comments, feelings, whatever. And of course, subscribe to your channel for plenty of TEW 2020 content, including this series, my WCW 2005 series, which I'm about to have the special show, where I book WrestleMania for the AI, and of course the New Japan 2004 series, which will basically be also in the spot on Wednesdays. But that's it for now, so talk to you later, and adios. Have a good one.